Brett Mullen, and you're listening to The Movie Raid.
It's time for the movie raid, and tonight's victim is director Brett Mullen, that's done many films such as Bloody Ballet, amongst others. Hello.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Fantastic. So what we got going so far?
So Bloodbath, a.k.a. Dead Inferno, Action, Bloody Ballet, a.k.a. Phantasma, and a new film, Killer Babes in the Frightening Film Fiasco.
Tell us a little bit about the Fiasco, if you are allowed to give us some information. What can we expect from this film?
Well, this film, anybody who's aware of my other work, I tend to lead towards very, I guess you could call it beautiful horror or cinematic. So this one picks up exactly where the other ones left off with the hue and the dreamscapes, big locations. This time I got a little bit bigger budget, so it's got an awesome cast in it. It's a really cool kind of poke at horror films, I would say. So it kind of takes all the tropes and it flips them on their head. That's pretty much it, but it tries to take little elements from movies that some of the actors have been in, and it kind of swirls them in. So it's kind of just a giant ride, and it's hard to say unnecessary like a plot without ruining the next hook, because it just kind of keeps hooking and hooking and hooking so it ends. From everybody that's read the script, that they really like it. So some of the reasons I even got some of the actors and actresses I did is because they love the script so much. For instance, Linnea Quigley, she read it, and she's a witch in the movie, which is super cool. She said she always wanted to be a witch. So that was pretty much the easiest pitch I've ever had to do, and it was in person, so that was pretty cool.
Oh, that was pretty cool. Well, what's going on with Bloody Ballet in terms of that? I know that this is out, but as far as how is the circulation going so far? Is it still circulating in other websites or any streaming services, or it's just kind of still settling at the moment?
Yeah, it's pretty stale at the moment, actually. It's on Hulu and Amazon Prime. It got released maybe last year or the year before. So it's got a DVD release, and then it's got those streaming services, so you can do Tubi or all those streaming services, Apple TV or Apple Music or whatever. It's on platforms. It's just, I was trying to get a Blu-ray out of it, and, I kind of wanted to push it a little further with extra features and stuff like that. It takes time, and it's hard to push products. So I think, if anything, it got caught in a weird release because the title had changed right before the movie was released. So it was Phantasma, and everything was marketed towards Phantasma, all the online posts or anything like that, and then right before it got changed to Bloody Ballet. So I think the fan base kind of, even if they changed the title, maybe didn't even know where to find it.
How did you feel when it comes to changing the title? Did you actually were a little bit against that? I mean, Bloody Ballet sounds pretty interesting on its own. The fact is that this is changing from something originally of a different vision. But do you think title doesn't really mean much of anything as long as the vision's still there?
I think titles are important. Probably the most important thing is the branding of the product. I had Graham Humphreys do illustration for Phantasma, and he had worked on Lucille Fulci stuff, and just he has got a huge catalog. The guy's insane. And so I was really proud of the illustration we had for the DVD, but when they changed it, I guess it didn't represent how I saw the movie. But then again, I've had my hands in so many parts of my independent films that sometimes it's good to let other people make decisions too. So I'm not saying it's a wrong decision. It's just, different.
Now, when it comes to the horror genre, now horror has appeal despite how it looks. It could be gritty, it could be dark, and very scary and so forth. But is it best to refine it each film, or keep the same formula in terms of having to release these films each time that you do them?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do commercials for a main job. I do plenty of music videos and stuff like that, but the independent films are actually more my side. So when it comes to doing those, I've had people approach me and they're like, oh, why don't you do this and this and this, because you can easily market that and easily make money doing that. And for me, just kind of, I want to do what I love that's really important, and try to connect with the fans that have the same taste as me. For instance, I'm really, really into Italian cinema. Just what I love. I love the giallos. I love the zombie films and that kind of stuff. So when it comes to taking the movie, I kind of just tend to what is inspiring me at the time. My style kind of trickles into each project, but then it also is really cool to see where the independent artists I work with, whether it's special effects or anybody from the lighting crew or makeup or all those ideas put together, makes it a completely different look and feel from anything else. I think the collaboration is the coolest thing. And it's really neat when you have a finished product. It's like a little chapter in your life, and that thing is those group of people And it's just cool to watch a movie that you shot and you have all these memories of stuff on set, having those people around for a few months or even years sometimes, depending on shooting schedule. I start obsessing, thinking of things like, where can we do this shot? How can I take this story and mold it toward this place or this thing? And having the putty approach to films is just really fun. I think it keeps it exciting. So I know with Bombshell Bloodbath, when I shot that one, I had that scenes and stuff like that, but with the special effect team, since I knew that they were so in line with my tastes, I was just like, hey, what are some things that you've always wanted to do as far as special effects that you think would be over the top and awesome? And they gave me a few ideas of what would be sweet, and then, we added them in the movie for the death scenes, but it's that much of freedom on shoots I work on to let everybody collaborate. Obviously, if it doesn't fit the mood of the movie, no, but I think that just keeps it interesting.
Yeah, and of course, a director's vision is pretty much often accepted for the most part, but how can it be accepted as an example of display of that vision? How can it be more accepted to get this vision out there to really show from other filmmakers?
Yeah, like I said, it's my creative outlet, and I don't really worry, I guess, who's going to like it, if it's going to sell in this kind of capacity. Maybe further on in my career, I'll be more driven to do something I think is very sellable. But at this point, I'm really just trying to do interesting projects that help mold my craft into, a stronger vision. And, with each one, I've upped the production. It's looked better. It's gotten a better cast. And so I think it's cool. And I've had plenty of people tell me that they were really inspired by the movie. I've seen a lot of local artists around where I live in North Carolina. All together, we keep creating content. And then, the next person's putting the bar up. A lot of really creative people in this state, so it's cool to see the stuff that we're putting out on such tight budgets.
Do you think if you were to, let's say, a string of studios, or at least a couple known bigger brands, do you think it's more of a distraction for you? It's not much as a restrictive sense, but do you think it's more of a distraction having these kind of offers and rather just stay your own path? A bigger budget, or even being hired from a, let's say, larger known studio or a more established studio?
I've worked on commercials that had, budgets that were $500,000, and it's really nice to have the crew. I think that much makes it a lot easier, but you have a lot of creativity taken away, for sure. The more people that you have wearing hats and making that they can make decisions, you get things trimmed. There's a reason why you can have a movie, let's say, like Godzilla, King of the Monsters, and, studio needs to make money too, so they put people in there, and they want people to have, real storylines and real emotions, but Godzilla fans just want the people to scream and the kaiju to fight. You lose some of that, and then people may not understand why it's not as true, whatever you're going with. But if you're doing it from a fan standpoint, you have nobody in your way, it's a lot easier to carve out something authentic. But at the same time, there's a reason why there's a formula for creating stuff that just generates money. That's cool too. It's nice to have your name out there, stuff like that, and big budget, they'll fluff some things and then put it out in big outlets, so that's nice.
Do you think a goal to achieve is also to actually make a challenge to perceive as well? Almost kind of like a recycle from achieving the goal, but also make it into a challenge at the same time?
Yeah, for sure. I guess, the challenge of mine has been kind of working on the rights for this remake film, and I can't really say much about it. It was really entertaining. It was almost a comedy at one point. There was a lot of stress in trying to come up with the rights and meeting the people in person and doing all this stuff, but it's very rewarding. I think you just let that be your driver for getting a project and getting it started is like the challenge. Challenge itself is cool. It'd be boring if it was easy, I suppose. And it never is easy. It doesn't matter the size of the movie. It still has its quirks to it.
Oh, yeah, because, once you achieve what you want to do, whatever it is that you're trying to go for, you succeed, you achieved it, but at the same time, once you reach that point, now you're going to use that as an actual challenge for your next project. This is what I succeeded before. This is what I need to use that almost like a standing beam for everything else that I'm going to be doing for the next decade. And so
yeah. So what's really funny too is you have to figure out a way to detach yourself from your old project and look at it as the last movie you made isn't the quality that you're doing now. Detach it. So I always say old Brett, or Brett 2017 made it. You go back and you look, and you can't make everything ideal. Some things you just have to move around organically on set. It just didn't happen the way you wanted it to. And you may look in post-production, or that's not what I wanted, or maybe you are hitting yourself in the head because you're like, man, there was this angle that would have been like 100 times better. You just got to get over it because artists grow. Yeah, just judge yourself by what you're currently doing. And by the time the movie's over and I watch it and it premieres, there's like things that make me cringe, but they didn't at the moment when I shot them. This is a part of the process. I can be proud for like how good it was at the moment I made it. Generally, I think I put enough into it that I'm usually proud of everything I do, at least from the film standpoint.
Go and plug in any websites or anything that we can check out right now.
You can view our Facebook, which is facebook.com/Taylor Raised in a Frightening Film Fiasco. There is IMDb for it. As far as my work, but I would probably say, if anything, if you want to see some like really cool content, it would be to go to tetravideo.com and order a copy of Dead Inferno, which is retitle of Bombshell Bloodbath. And when those guys released it, they did a 2-disc limited edition, and it's got like more behind the scenes than actual movie. It's so cool. It took a while putting everything together, but it really shows an in-depth book of independent filmmaking, and especially for my first film, that was such a blessing for those of us to reach out and be interested in using it. So it's like #1 in the Tetra magazine, which is super cool. That thing, I think they just put it for sale, the reprint. I think there's only like 100, but that'd definitely be worth picking up if you want to get like more into the world of what we're doing. Cool.
There you have it, everybody. That is director Brett Mullen.